You straight up cuckooed that dude, bro. Oh my God.
You've got all your Charger gear on because
I look good. I got big energy every day.
Let's go! And he is dicked.
Blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
That's right.
You have to love what you're seeing on tape if you're a Chargers fan, especially for the future with Justin Herbert.
On the move and throws and touchdown.
Players, coaches, staff, fans, together we can create something truly special.
Stay tuned for some good content.
Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Charger Chat Friday edition. I'm your co-host, Wool Dog, sitting with my two real boys, Kev Hug and Duggan.
It's Friday.
Kyle the Coach Duggan.
We're back, guys. Sorry we missed last Friday.
That's okay. I think these guys filled in pretty good for you.
Frickin' frack.
All right, folks. Well, it's the Friday episode, so we try to give you some new stuff to go over here, and we're going to start it off with a great interview. Boy, Kev, he's on back-to-back solid interviews right now.
I don't know how we got this one. I actually do know how we got this one. What am I saying? Jason over at Boltbeat knows this fine gentleman pretty well, and I'm just going to tell you who it is because it's too awesome. It is
juicy.
Our former strength and conditioning coach, John Lott. Which
nice.
I'm telling you, holla at your boy.
Baby.
This was a fun one, and he knows everyone so intimately. He has so much amazing knowledge on these guys that it's so fun to hear his point of view. And he talked about everyone from Telesco to why Herbert's going to be even better, to Derwin James. Like we talked for a while. So I love this guy. I hope you guys really enjoy this one.
Awesome. Well, all right, let's just go right to it. Here comes John Lott.
Booyah, you doing good?
Your ass is mine. When it ends, you can have it back.
Feels good. Talk to some Charger fans.
Man, are we lucky to have the one and only. All right, guys, we have another Bolt Insight for you, and man, are we lucky to have the one and only John Lott on with us. What is going on, John?
Booyah, you doing good?
Good, man. I'm so excited to chat with you. This is amazing. Let's jump off. Like the first thing I want to ask you, because you're kind of internet famous for this. So I want to ask about the haircut heard around the world. And the rumor goes is you were tasked with buzzing his hair mid-season. Wanted to ask, and was always curious, did you worry it would be like a Samson and Delilah thing where you'd cut it and he would lose the strength you gave him from the locker room?
That's a great question, because it's funny. We talked about that afterwards. First of all, I got nothing but most respect for Justin. He's going to be a stud for decades to come, because the way he takes care of his body and everything else, whatever. But he's like going, Coach, I'm going to cut my hair. Well, he'd come in my office all the time because our locker room the weight room was the locker room. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, let's roll. He goes, I want you to cut it. I'm like, all right, let's roll. You got clippers? I go, I'll go by CVS and I'll get some. When you want to cut it? Let's cut it tomorrow. Well, Tuesday is our day off in the NFL. And so everyone had left the building basically. And we set up a chair in the weight room, and I got my clippers, and Gabe Neighbors is right there. Gabe's good people, and that's his roommate. And we went to cutting. And after we cut, it looked like a wig. I'm like, dude, when was the last time you cut your sticking mop? Like sticking 2 years ago. I said, good Lord, your mom. What's crazy is when I was cutting them, I'm thinking of my son Jasper. Like, dude, look at my son's older brother or something. It's amazing. And I thought it looked pretty good. That was me saying it, but anyway.
No, I thought it was legit. It was a good buzz, but it was so funny. He showed up at his first presser and literally everything exploded. Social media exploded. It was crazy.
Right. And you got to understand, I wasn't on social media. I started doing it, Twitter, which I'm on Twitter now, and I do a little bit Instagram, but I do a little Twitter. And he goes, so we always do to start a practice, we're playing catch. We got a little game. We got 2-1. We go to the first one to 20, and we're throwing ball and everything else. Hey, Coach, what's up? He goes, they're going to be on you. What are you talking about? He goes, they asked me who cut my hair. I'm like, what'd you say? I told Coach John Lott. I was like, wow. And then after that, it went boom. And I was like, shoot. But it was funny, but you know what? We didn't lose a game after that.
It's
College
true.
boy.
It's true.
Yeah.
And there was like rumors of like he wanted to make a change because he wasn't liking what was going on. He's like, I'm going to make a big change right now. And like, is there any truth to that?
You know what? He's I'll keep that with him. But he's a team guy.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. This Pecker out here is a team guy. He's a throwback. How you go from Phillip Rivers to Justin? Goodness gracious. Follow that person around with a state lottery ticket because you're going to win.
Seriously. Well, and I wanted to go back a little bit because I remember finding you on social media because it was like right in the pandemic and like we were trying to get Chargers social media content. And you the first video I saw of like what was going to happen was you going through the weight room, the outside weight room, and kind of giving us a rundown. So like all your videos are amazing because you're like working out with players and all that stuff. So like, yeah, that's amazing.
Well, I was trying to bring, it's a new age. I got in the league back in the 90s. And so we didn't have computers. We had computers, but we didn't have any internet. And so for y'all to see a little glimpse of what we were going through, which is a weird year anyway, as 25 years in, I've seen it all. And you see this, and I thought it would have been good for everyone to be able to see that. And, but yeah, that was a unique year for sure.
Oh yeah, and you guys were on Hard Knocks, and you basically had your own episode. I don't know if you saw that. The one that it still tickles me to this day when you guys are throwing the medicine ball and the guy gets you at the end. That was hilarious.
It's kind of funny, and that's what happened at the Combine. Is I did the Combine for a lot of years, and then the NFL Network came out back in 2005, and they put a mic on me, and I was being the same old I am.
Yeah. And
then all of a sudden it kind of took off.
No, it was amazing. It was so much fun to watch. And I'm always curious about the Hard Knocks. You've been around a lot of teams and like the cameras being in there. And does that change the dynamic of the team? Is there added weirdness between the people?
It is on certain occasions. There are certain occasions I want to rip someone a stinking new one. And I didn't want to do that, because it's disrespectful. And in my opinion, like, for an example, at the Combine, the guys would come in, and at the time, they didn't know anything about the bench press. Now, all the gurus now do everything, and they know everything about it. And then it was on television, and all of a sudden they knew who I was. They knew what I was about. But before then, they're walking in. I'm like, what are we about to do? I'm like, shoot, you better wake up. It's going to follow you like a felony charge. And so I didn't want to clown anybody in front of the camera, because that's kind of what I do. And I can take the clown back to me, but at the same time, other than that, they were really gracious, good people with HBO and Hard Knocks. And they were, after a while, believe it, you heard the expression before, you forget the cameras are there. Yeah. Now, when the Peckers would see me put a mic on, which they would do that every day in practice, then the guys would see me like, oh, here we go. I'm like, no. Fellas, they're asking to put a mic on. I don't know what to tell you.
That's easy. Well, an interesting segue is like the end of Hard Knocks was, when Derwin got hurt, and it's been such a we love him so much, and to see that happen to him last year was so devastating, especially for him, I'm sure. So like and being able to watch you guys work together. And like get that back. So what was it like for him, and how did he get back on his feet?
The thing about Derwin is that I coached his cousin, Derwin James, and so Derwin gave me my props with him. How they do. Hey, this guy got me right. I'm actually going to the Hall of Fame with two of my guys are getting inducted. Alan Faneca and Steve Atwater, and then Derwin got last year. So I've had 3 in the last 2 years, which is awesome.
That's great.
So proud of all of them. And I had opportunity to be with them. And so, we looked at each other in a different way. He's a guy called Polk County. You had 3 guys from Polk County. You had Parham. You had Mike Pouncey, who was a beast of all beasts, and DJ. And DJ You have to understand about this guy now. His daddy was a state champion in the 100-meter in Florida. His mom was a state champion in the 100-meter.
Oh, my God.
And guess what they did? They had a baby. DJ.
Talk about the DNA powers.
Oh, my gosh. That little baby in 7th grade, goodness gracious. He's got his little brother in 7th grade. He's going to be a beast. He's going to be better than DJ because he's watching DJ. That's why my son Jasper, I would have him work out with DJ and all those guys. And one time I'll give you a story. We're in the rookies and we're working out and DJ's there. And we got like 20-something rookies, 24 rookies and Jasper. So it's even, whatever. So you're going to be GM for the day. You're going to pick your sticking team. All right. I'm like, DJ, you're GM and you're a GM. So you pick your team. All right, here we go. DJ's first. Boom, 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 boom. About the fourth one, he picks Jasper. I'm like, oh. Meanwhile, you got these other guys. They're like looking at him like, what the? But that's the kind of guy he is, and that's what he brings to the game. He's had 2 injuries in his life, both the same ones. The craziest thing, and you just really are pulling for this guy. I had Tyrann Mathieu, same kind of deal. And I had Tyrann reach out to him. I gave him his contact, and they're now good friends and things of that nature. But like when the screw happened, I mean, they put something they got from Ace Hardware in his foot. Thing broke because he's so powerful. And then in the last year, he's so powerful just against air. Just what in the world? It's like a rubber band just flipped. And that's why he's going to come back because there was no damage. And really, to tell you the truth, he probably could have come back at the end, but I think it was smart for his career. But I can't, man, what a great. One thing I'll say about Tom Telesco, not one, but for you guys that don't know him, he is a student of the game. He's not too big for the game. And I'm going to tell you right now, he brings in high character people. He really does. And for that, I give him a lot of props.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we're excited to see what Derwin can do and really excited for his a really good season. And the way the team's shaping up, we're just so excited about it. So
Right.
I wanted to ask you I'm always interested in this, and you're right in the middle of it in terms of like health and how it just seems like more guys are there's injuries across the league.
Right.
What do you contribute that to? Why do you think that's more prevalent now?
You know what? There's a difference between training and being trained. For an example, you know the feeling when you have a babysitter? That's not mama. It ain't daddy. Okay. Hey, you want you to go? Yeah, I got you. Hang tight. You know, it's the same thing in coaching. Okay. There's a different question than a demand. And when I say we're going to rest 30 seconds in between this, that's not 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That's 30 seconds. Obviously, the league is changing. Guys are wanting to do their own things and everything else of that nature. And that's the way it's going to go. You're not going to be able to go back the way it is. But as a coach, you know, I think that time together is not there anymore like it used to be. Back in not this one, but the last CBA, it was all the older guys that wanted less time around the facility, more time at the house, you know. And you know what? I had one of my peers say that, you know, those older guys, they don't want the younger guys to be around because it's how they get their jobs, you know. But the injuries, I think, came from like when we came back after the 2010 lockout, there were 16 Achilles. And I think there was only like 4 or 5 a year before.
Yeah.
There's a difference between reacting and making videos and putting them on Instagram. And I would tell the guys that all the time. You know, there's a difference between a boxer. I used to train a boxer, Malik Scott. And when we trained, we had to get 66 to 67 rounds of sparring before we went into an 8-round match. Because there's a difference between shadow boxing and sparring.
Yeah.
And I think you see that. And I was just holding my, you know, crossing my fingers, trying to get really, I felt, through about the first month of the season because we had no preseason. You know, now you have some weird injuries we had. Drew Frankel breaks his dang near compound fracture, okay? But how much has he done that type of ballistic dynamic type movement? Not very much. So let's see what happens, Now Mike Pouncey fell straight up on his hip, and that was the same thing that he had an abrasion on that they did in 15 to get him through 16. And heck, he ended up playing another 4 years on it. And now he has a fake hip in his hip. So we had some weird sticking injuries, but as far as myself, as far as other teams, I can't answer, but that's my opinion, and that's how I feel.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's definitely tough to see guys go down like that. But I want to go back to the Derwin thing, because I remember seeing something online where you got him and I think it was Hunter Henry to do a hype video for your son in Argyle football. Like, how cool was that for him to have these two guys hyping the team up?
Right. Well, what's cool about it is Derwin really liked my son. He liked the way he worked, the way he moved, everything else. And they would lift together in the summer and things like that and go through their drills and everything else. So he kind of got a kindred with Jasper. And Jasper got ranked the number 1 tight end in the state. He's texting Jasper. For Jasper, that's a pretty big gig because it's DJ. And so every week, to let you know, every week he would send Jasper a video. Hey, man, let's go. This kind of stuff. And so that game was a big, big playoff game that we had to win. And so for him and Hunter to do that was really special because Hunter being a tight end and Jasper's got Hunter's number at TCU now. It's 86.
That's awesome.
For Hunter. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Yeah, it seems like you have just an amazing relationship with a lot of players. Like all these guys love you. So like, what is it like being in a locker room and like just making these bonds? Because you're with them in the off season, lifting, working together so much. What is that like creating a bond with some of these guys?
It's very humbling, and I think that's a gift. As far as not a gift, it's a blessing from the standpoint of you're able to reach different people, and that's why I say orange, yellow, black, white, north, south, east, or west, from the south, from the north. When it's all said and done, we all bleed the same, we all sweat the same. And if they know, and I find this, if you're consistent, consistency leaves no room for error. And so if I'm a butthole, I'm going to be a butthole. I tell these guys from the first day, if you're going to be a butthole, I want you to be a butthole to me every sticking day. I don't want no Apple on my desk one day and all of a sudden Dr. Jekyll the next. I don't want that guy. And so I try to be that same way. In the same token, my door's always been open to them. The most gratifying thing is on Father's Day with the texts, and I stay in touch with them. They know from a personal standpoint, I try to bring it home. Like when I talked to Keenan Allen when I first got there, I'm like, Keenan, when I had Larry, we did this. I talked to a guy like a Mike Pouncey. Hey, when I had Kevin Mawai, we did this. But for me to be comparing them to that's an honor, for them. And I'm seeing them and the potential. And I always tell them, get your expectation up because mine's up. So when I'm looking at a quarterback, I'm thinking Kurt Warner. Okay, pretty good. I'm thinking Vinny Testaverde. 21 years in the NFL, 19 starting. That's mine. I'm not dropping mine. You get yours up. And I think they respect that. And it's manifested itself off the field, So it's very humbling. It's awesome.
That's rad. So what are some of because you had a long time with Phillip before he went to Indianapolis. You got to work with him a lot. What was it like working with Phil? Because like he is like one of the most beloved Chargers of all time. We all love him so much. What is he like?
By far. I mean, you got to put him up there. He's one of my favorites. Philip's back home. We talk quite a bit actually. He's coaching now.
Yeah,
his son's high school, like he said he's going to do, and he's over there and they got a new weight room in and they're going through their off season right now. And today's Tuesday, so they're doing some agility drills and tomorrow it's all football the next day, and so he's a good guy and we kind of related because we're both rednecks at heart. Now rednecks doesn't mean a bad dude. It's just, we're from the South.
Sure.
And we immediately, and again, like I said, with the combine, I always, they always remembered me from Ray Lewis all the way down, and so I'll be walking off the stinking field and all of a sudden Eli Manning comes, hey, what up, Halls? You know, and it's just, they'll remember me from that, like a Cam Newton's and all those guys coming across the field. And so Philip was just such a team player. Okay. Now, you better bring your big boy pants on with him because he's no dummy. Now, he may not know much about physics or how to fix a computer, but when you're talking about coverages and defenses and things like that, Philip came with it. So I felt like that. I'd always tell Philip, just like Jesse told James, don't worry about the horses. You just rob the bank, you know? And that was my main thing for him. And it worked out pretty well. I just wish we could have, we didn't have any more gas when we went to New England. You know, I think if we got past New England, I think we could have done some damage. But we were just tired from traveling, you know, from Baltimore back here. And they've been resting. They look like they just got off a beach in the Bahamas, you know.
Yeah.
we're like Santa Anna's sticking army. March all the way through Mexico and fight sticking, you know. Anyway, Sam Houston's men. But anyway.
Well, awesome, man. Well, I can't tell you how much we appreciate your time, John. It was such an awesome time talking to you and getting some of these stories. And we'd love to have you back on if you want to come back on. That's
no problem. Hey, I tell you what I'm looking forward to is I'm watching, because I think we're going to win. There's not a doubt in my mind that we're going to win. You know, as long as 10's upright, okay?
Yeah.
And because I'm going to tell you right now, he will control that huddle. He has the respect of the huddle, and forget about the huddle, the team. You know, he's got the respect of the team. You know, this guy reminded me, I'll tell you one quick story. Yeah. I get a call one time at the end of the season from Vinny Testaverde. And Vinny Testaverde was a great player in the NFL for a long time.
Yeah.
And Vinny and I are very good friends, played for me. And Vinny, he said, John, that is the best quarterback I've seen ever as a rookie. I said, Vinny, you know, there would be y'all would see it in the game.
Yeah.
There would be at least 2 to 3 50-yard dart bombs a day in practice.
Wow.
Okay. Now, Philip would do that too. Now, don't get me wrong. Now, Philip had that ability, but he has a little bit more juice on it, you know, because he's a younger Philip type deal from that standpoint. But I had not seen an arm like his since Vinny's. And he had a cannon. And this dude's like, Vinny was a lifter. You know, he's got a 2,000 square foot weight room in his house.
Oh, wow.
This guy was the same way. And he came up to me at the end of the year and he goes, Coach, this is the strongest I've ever been this time of year. And he goes, this is also the heaviest I've ever been this time of year. And he's weighing around 238. I'm a big weight, you know, because I had Carl Lewis and those guys, and you can't run fat. And so he said, he goes, I didn't lift in college during the season. Oh, shoot. So I get down to about 222. Oh, shoot. This guy was so strong at the end of the year. So I was like, man, if we could have just punched our ticket, if we could have just punched one, you know, catch the ball in Oakland and make 2 field goals, we're 10-6.
Yeah.
This he's playing in the postseason. And nobody wanted to see him.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just so crazy to see his trajectory, and maybe it's something like that of just hitting the weight room the whole season. He just got better every week.
Right.
It was just
and people got better around him. People got better around him. You got to understand, Pouncey was our alpha in that huddle. Since, you know, Philip left, he was the alpha. He hurt his hip, you know, and then you had to move Dan over to center. And Dan Feeney, you know, who's out the Jets and all that stuff. And Dan's a natural guard, but he can play center. You know, he's a good center. But I'm just saying, it was just a different, you know. And so he had to get their trust. Next thing you know, by the end of the year, 4 games in a row. I mean, yeah, he was like, this dude right here is going to be a beast. But he's just, but to let everyone know, you know, the one thing the Bible says, put your faith in man, he'll let you down every time. And this is the one thing about this. A lot of times I've met a lot of famous people and I've been very fortunate, whatever. And I've learned to temper my expectations because oh, shoot, this dude's a jerk, you know?
Yeah.
I want to tell you right now, you want this guy babysitting your kids. You want him taking care of your dogs. You you want him to come speak to your class.
Yeah.
You're not going to have to. He's just a good human, and I can't say any more good things about him. But yeah, I can't wait to see him and Eck and Joshua and Keenan. All this stuff's going to be able to do.
It's going to be so much fun. We definitely going to have to check back in with you soon, because this has been like my favorite interview of all time. So thank you so much, John.
I appreciate it, man. Anytime, bro. You just you let me know, and we're there.
All right, man. Sounds good. Bolt up.
Boot up. I'll see you.
Oh my God. Dude, that was so freaking amazing. John Lott, my goodness, thank you so much for coming on this show. That was by far the most entertaining interview that we've had here on the Charger Chat podcast. I mean, all the stories that you told were just absolutely fantastic. The talking about cutting Herbert's hair and calling it a mop, like it's just, referring to people as pecker. I mean, dude, your vocabulary is just one of the best in the league by far. And seriously, just great stories. That was so freaking cool. Like, I honestly didn't know about Derwin James' parents, the state record holders for the 100-yard dash. Like, mom and pop made the baby, and that baby is Derwin James. Like, that's incredible. I didn't know that. I mean, that so many special little tidbits there, John. I'm so thankful that you sat down with Kev, and it's pretty damn special. So thank you so much for doing that. And believe me, if I know Kev's got some kids, so maybe he'll reach out to Justin Herbert, maybe get Justin Herbert to babysit his kids for a date night once in a while. That's so damn cool. So, and so inspiring too about Justin Herbert, making the comment, as long as 10 is upright. I mean, folks, who better to know than the guy who's been training and working with these guys in the off season? You're getting it straight from the horse's mouth. That's so freaking special. All right, moving on. We kind of teased it a little bit last week about having a coach's classroom. Guess what? We sat the coach down. We forced him to talk about something. No, we didn't force him. He did it on his own accord. And now it's time to move on over to the coach's classroom. Class is in session. All right, folks. Well, welcome to the first ever coach's classroom. Now, Coach has pulled up a play here, and I think he's done some homework as well. He's going to break something down for us. Coach, learn us something new today. What do we got?
Please.
Yeah. So I have hopes of this obviously becoming a breakdown of last week's game and an intro into what we're going to be facing in the coming week once the season starts. But as of right now, we don't have an opponent. We don't have any game tape from this year. We can obviously go back. I'll do some looking at Staley's defenses, some of the things that I'm excited about and how I think it'll fit well. Kind of just wanted to start because it seems like from a lot of you guys' feedback is there's a lot of desire just for football 101 knowledge. So, and I'm just going to look at this first play. I was going to look through this whole game and see if there was something that I wanted to break down. But as I look through this one play, there's a bunch of things that pop into my mind that I'd like to share with you guys and hopefully is insightful for when you're watching a football game. So right off the bat, this is our week 17 game against Kansas City. This is the game that Kevin and Wooly and myself were actually at, which was awesome.
What?
So awesome.
Yep. But this is the first play of the game. Like I said, I was going to go through and try to find some little things that we could look at consistently. But this first play, a lot of stuff jumps off right away. So just looking at it here from the Chargers defense perspective, you can see we have one high safety. So you've heard that a lot probably, but this is what it looks like when you have one safety high, just meaning there's only one safety deep. We have two safeties on the field. One is down in the box. That would be anything inside of the tackles, 5 yards off the line. This is what's considered the box. So you have one safety down in the box, one safety high. So when you have one high safety, the coverages you can run become narrowed down, right? You can run cover 3, you can run cover 1, or you can disguise it and it could then change right at the snap.
Mm-hmm.
So we're playing a backup quarterback here. So right off the bat, Gus was running a little bit of, trickery, I guess you could try to say. He was just trying to get him thinking the first play of the game. So right away, we start in cover what looks like cover 3, because that's our go-to base. That's what everyone would assume.
Classic.
But then as soon as the play starts, you'll see right away, now the safety starts backing out. So before the snap, so you see here, this safety now is out of the box, and this safety still remains out of the box. So now your possible coverages change. You could run cover 2, you could run cover 4, you could run cover 2 man, you could run cover 8. There's a lot of different coverages that you can now run out of 2 high safeties. So this gives the quarterback something to think about right when he's getting ready to snap the ball. So it's just a little bit of movement. You might not notice it, but it does change for the quarterback what he's looking at and what he's potentially, where I'm going to go with the ball next. Now we'll see another element of this play. You see the motion pre-snap. So our defense has now shown what we're doing. We walk the safety out of the box, and now they're going to motion this guy across the formation. For the quarterback, this information tells us if the defense doesn't move, if these guys don't move based on this motion, then that means we're in a zone, because it doesn't matter who's with who. If we're in man-to-man, cover 1, cover 0, this guy, Chris Harris, our nickel corner in this situation, would usually run across the formation with the motion. So as soon as this motion starts, he would take off and run with him. But as you can tell, once this play starts, Chris stays put, and he's now on the other side of the formation, now knowing this is a zone. So a lot of stuff happened before the ball's even snapped. We go 1 high, possible cover 3. Our safety drops out, becomes potential cover 4. They motion across. They know now it's definitely not cover 2 man. So we're in some kind of a zone. All that happens before the snap.
Wow.
Now, what they're running is called an RPO. It's a run pass option. So the quarterback now he's already digested all that information. He's digested, okay, now they're probably running cover 2 or cover 4. The motion across, they're definitely in zone. They're not in man-to-man. Now they're running RPO. So what they're going to do, you can see the quarterback's eyes. He's staring down right here to look at this linebacker to see what he does. If he stays at depth, he's going to hand the ball off because now they have numbers in the box. If this linebacker comes up to the line of scrimmage, he's going to keep the ball and he's going to hit either this hitch or I think it's this motion guy coming out of the backfield here. So he now you can see his eyes are staring right down at Denzel Perriman to see what he does. So now we have, as we watch the play continue, you see Denzel, boom, he's coming. Now he's coming forward, keeps the ball, and now he's got an option. So this was all, but as you can see as well, the linemen, this is what makes it really hard for a linebacker, is the linemen are all going to come out and zone block. So watch the line. It doesn't look like a traditional pass set where they're just going to stand straight up and the tackles drop back. In an RPO, they're still firing out because they don't know if it's going to be run or pass. So that's what makes it really hard for your linebacker to just sit there. So now as these guys fire out, he comes up. Now he's going to keep the ball and roll out. Obviously, he made the wrong decision. Thank goodness we're playing a backup. If you look, he's going to throw to a guy that's already being broken down on by Denzel and has Tillery sitting on him. But if he had kept the ball, there's no pressure in his face. If he had kept the ball for one more second, he sees this guy wide open in the middle of the field. And that's a read that Mahomes probably sees because he's more comfortable with it and knows what's coming. So this pre-snap, remember, this safety walked out of the box. See how deep he is? We are in cover 4. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4 all off the ball. So these guys are in a very soft, very comfortable, keep everything in front of us coverage.
Classic, am I right?
Yeah.
Very Gus
it's not
Bradley.
cover 3, so at least it's a little bit of a different look.
It's even softer.
But
It's downy soft.
But having pre-snap, if he had digested all of that information all at once and then decided to keep, this is the obvious go-to with Denzel Perriman. Even before you knew anything, if you saw Denzel, if I was a quarterback, I saw Denzel to the side that we're doing this RPO, I'm keeping it right away and throwing it at
I'm out.
You know how aggressive Denzel is against the run, so he's going to be coming. So this is the obvious read. So those are just little things that, like, when you look at us playing more downhill in the future, Kenneth Murray wanting to play downhill, you have people to cover up these things, these little leaks, these little things that can get you in trouble. Because then RPO, which is the new thing in football the last 3 or 4 years, is you if you're a downhill, real aggressive guy as a linebacker, this is how they pick you apart. Because linebackers have to stop the run, but they have all of these intermediate routes in the middle of the field. So it makes it really difficult. It puts him in a really tough bind. So all of that stuff is going on all at the same time. This is just what's fun about watching football, and what's hard when you watch it on Sundays. You don't get this view, right? We usually get to see the quarterback, and we get to see him, whoever he decides to throw the ball. But when you can see the coverage going on behind what's happening and what's going on, you could say, "Oh wow, we lucked out there." They end up throwing it to this little short thing underneath, and I was waiting to show this till the end because it's just so much fun to watch. But this is when Denzel just absolutely lights this guy up, and it becomes a highlight play to start the game.
I remember this one.
Right? So it goes from what should have been for this quarterback when he goes and watches film, it should have been a gain of 15 here, to all of a sudden a complete momentum changer. We're now all hyped up, ready to go make plays.
Wow.
So there's just so much that goes into every single play, that even if it looks like a very successful play that our defense did really good, in reality, we left a big hole there at a 12-yard gain that could have been taken advantage of. So all that to say, when you're watching a game, don't be that I try my best not to either, trying to be a coach from the living room, because I don't know everything that's going on. I can't see everything that's happening. This looks like a great play by Denzel, when in reality, he jumped that way too fast and left open a 12-yard gain that luckily turned into a great hit for him and probably earned him a little bit of money on his next contract.
Right.
But yeah, those are the things that for our first coach's classroom, just thought it would be fun to see from a big picture, everything that goes on before, during, and then after a play. Question.
Teacher. Yes. I'd like to ask a question in this first classroom. So they were talking about how Kenneth Murray just never really had to drop into coverage. So like when you're having a guy that has never really done that, it sounds like that's the most difficult thing to really grasp and learn the nuances of. How much better is he going to be next year if he doesn't have to do all this kinds of stuff?
Well, yeah. So that was the change from Oklahoma to coming to the NFL, right? He was more of just a pass rusher, go get after the quarterback. He's still going to have to do those things. He's still going to have to read, run, pass. And that's the hardest part about being a linebacker. And it comes down to, one, watching game film and being comfortable with what your guards are doing. Because that's what linebackers read. You read your guard through the guard to the running back. So if your guard, if he gives you a tell that you can see that it's pass, you can hop out a little bit quicker. But it is hard. It's kind of a feel thing. You got to do it enough to get comfortable with, all right, this is pass, I need to get out, or okay, it's run, I need to fill the box. That's why linebacker, I think, is one of the hardest positions, because you're not just a D lineman that you just got to stop you know what's coming. You're going to do the same thing every time. DBs, they're pass first. D lines run first, and then the linebackers have to be able to do both. So that's the hardest part about being a linebacker, is being able to read, run, pass, and still be aggressive when you make that decision. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Teach.
You're welcome.
Since this isn't necessarily a view that we get to see, during the game, what do we as fans have to take away from something like this? Like, the way you explain it is like what a quarterback can learn from, as far as like, hey man, you left this guy wide open, you could have tossed it to him. What do we have as fans to take away from that if we see something like that? Is it just like, are we cheering for like, oh, see, they made the mistake, they could have thrown it to that guy, but he didn't? It's just like, is that, I think, what we have to really look forward to, as far as now that we have Coach's Classroom, to be able to be like, they fucked up.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit of realistic expectations, or realistic. I don't know how to say it. Like, you don't just get overhyped on someone because they had a good game when they still messed up 5 or 6 times that could have been really, really bad. And you also don't get really pissed off at someone when they messed up on one play, but the rest of the game, they were extremely successful at what they did. So I think being able to watch it from this perspective just helps give you a better general overview of your team. It's not just hey, we got lucky this week because they made a couple bad plays. We made a couple good plays. It was, oh, wow, we beat the dog crap out of this team. And it was because we consistently played good every play.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good deal. All right. Well, thank you, Kyle, the Coach Duggan, for giving us our very first Coach's Classroom. Again, folks, yes, round of applause for Coach. Again, folks, if you have particular plays that you want us to take a look at to dissect, Coach will pull it up just like this, and we'll take a look at it. If and they don't necessarily have to be Chargers, especially during this offseason. We've got Brandon Staley as our new coach. If there are any particular Rams games or plays that have occurred, especially on defense, since that was Brandon Staley's forte, that you want us to take a look at, let us know. I mean, Kyle can pretty much pull up just about any ding-dang play he wants, and we can dissect it. So, awesome.
And just a quick reminder for those of you not watching on YouTube, there is a full X's and O's presentation. So
yes, yeah. If you were listening to
YouTube.
this strictly on audio, you are missing out on the visual presentation that Coach has put together here for you.
Stop on by.
So come on down to the YouTube channel. Excellent. All right, folks, there you go. Coach's Classroom in the books. And that's pretty much going to do it for us here at Charger Chat for this Friday episode. But before we go, it was sad news that came out earlier today. Former Chargers defensive end Leroy Jones passed away, age 70. Really unfortunate to hear. Now, and I'll be honest with you, Leroy Jones, somebody before my time. My fandom with the Chargers has become more later in life. But when I read this little tidbit on Wikipedia about Leroy Jones, I had to say something about it because it just seems so damn special that I can't not say something about it. So, this is just a couple paragraphs within this, and it just sounds like, man, what a special guy. In 1980, Jones teamed with All-Pros Fred Dean, Gary Big Hands Johnson, and Louis Kelcher on the defensive front line as the Chargers led the NFL in sacks with 60. Holy cow. The foursome was locally nicknamed the Bruise Brothers. Dude, how can you? The Bruise Brothers. What a freaking awesome name. Jones that season had 12 sacks, second on the team behind Johnson, 17 and a half, and was named an alternate for the Pro Bowl. During the 1981 season, Jones blocked a 35-yard field goal by Miami kicker Yuivan, not say this last name right, Shaman, at 11:27 into overtime, allowing San Diego to drive for its own field goal and win 41-38 in the playoff game known as the Epic in Miami, considered by many to be among the greatest NFL games ever. So Leroy Jones obviously made an impact with the Chargers team back in the day. Before my time, but I mean, you got to give respect where it's due. And it's just unfortunate that we lost him, 70 years old, but man, what a heck of a career and what time was spent here with the Chargers. So I hate to end it on a somber note, but I had to say something about it because it came out on Wednesday. So we needed to say something. So Leroy Jones, rest in peace. And we'll see you guys next week for another Tuesday episode. But until then, folks, don't forget to bolt up because we're ready for any squad, any place. Okay, love you. Bye.
And now, a word from our sponsors. Oh no, you've injured your foot. Looks like you're gonna need surgery. Well, come on down to Ace Hardware. We've got screws for all of your foot injury needs. Guaranteed to last at least 4 years, 5 if you're lucky. That's the Ace Hardware promise. Ace is the place with the helpful screws for your feet,